Hi, I'm Sandy McDaniel, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. This topic is one of my favorite ones. Let children be children. And I have a friend with me this morning to help me with the lesson. This little guy's name is Harmony. Yeah, and Harmony is one of the central characters in a program that I co-wrote with Peggy Beelan called Project Self-Esteem. And I asked Harmony to come and join me this morning. Oh gosh, you're shaking. Oh yeah, what's the matter? Oh, you feel totally overwhelmed? Wow, can you tell me what it is? Oh, you have too much homework, yeah, and you've got to be at soccer, and you haven't done your homework, and oh yeah, and you're supposed to clean your room, and all of that today, yeah, and it's just too much, right? It's just way too much. I think you made your point. Okay, thank you, bye. We're rushing our children. We're asking too much of them. We're overwhelming them, and they're only 2, 3, and 4, or 8, 9, and 10 years old, and it needs to stop. We need to remember that children need to be children. I was on the boat going to Catalina Island, and I was reading a novel, and all of a sudden I heard everybody yell, "Dolphin, dolphin, dolphin!" So I ran astern, and I was standing there, and I was aware of a little girl being held by her mother right next to me. And so the dolphin were jumping, and everybody's going, "Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah," when they came jumping out of the water. And all of a sudden I turned and I looked at the little girl, and I said, "You called the dolphin, so they came." And her mother got busy explaining that she actually had made a wish that she would see the dolphin. While I was talking to the mother, and then I looked back at the dolphin again because they're still springing out of the water, the little girl stare remained on the side of my face. Pretty soon she pointed and she said, "You called the dolphin." Now, when a child is using their intuition, if you negate it, they don't go say, "Hey, you're a big fat liar." They turn off their intuition. She knew I'd called it because I always call them before I go out into the harbor to go to Catalina, which I do frequently. So I looked at her and I said, "You called them, and I called them. We both called them, and they came." And I went to high-five her, and instead of high-fiving like a kid does, where they just hit your hand, she put her hand on my hand and turned it sideways both ways. And as I returned to my seat, I heard her say to her mother, "Sandy and I called the dolphin, so they came." Children are magic. I am one walking story of children's magic because I spend lots of time with families who have children. We kill the magic when we stress them out. We've got to pay attention to what we're doing. We are rushing our children. Children do not need to learn to read in kindergarten. I'm sorry for all the kindergarten teachers who are watching this, or the school people. It's not their fault. It's the politicians' fault. People who work with children know that children learn important things through play. They're learning what they need to learn by just playing. First of all, they're learning to interact with each other and to be social. You see, if we don't let children be children, and we don't teach them, let them learn social skills, and then as teenagers, now we've got the whole sexual thing going, and they're not learning to interact there, what's going to happen to all the relationship stuff? Marriage? You think divorce is high now because these are the places where children learn to interact and to have social skills, and we're robbing them of it. We're taking it away. One of the things I'm concerned about in rushing children is that we're putting the idea of being good enough or doing something good enough into little children's minds. A little child should not be worried that they're not coloring a picture good enough, that they're not drawing a letter good enough, that they're not doing it good enough. This was my entire childhood, not good enough. Mostly because my brain works differently than schools do, which is another lesson. And you don't want to put it on your own children. We have a problem right now with burnout in children. It used to be in college. We'd have kids burning out. What's burning out mean? Drugs, alcohol, killing themselves, taking off in a van and disappearing. burning out, quitting, because they can't maintain the pressure. Do you know where that line is now? It's in middle school. It moved from college to middle school. Children cannot take the pressure that we are putting on them in sports, in school, in our homes. I invite you to think about whether you're pressuring your children to be too old too soon. TV. It's not appropriate for children to watch adult programs. It's not appropriate for them to learn what's in the program and the content, the speed that they're talking, the kind of language they're using, the vocabulary they're using. All of that is too hard for their brains. Their brains are trying to build channels, which is another lesson down the line. I will teach you about the brain. And it disturbs that. So it's not okay. It's not just, oh, it's okay if they watch it. It's not appropriate for the children. If the movie says PG, do not let your child watch it if they're underage. It's there for a reason. Content inappropriate. And I could do a whole thing on the video games. Don't let your children have a video game just because the neighbors have it. Horror story number 1. There was a boy, I think it was 16, shot his mother in the head because she took his video game away. If you watched the video game, in order to win the video game, you had to shoot people in the head? Do you understand that we're anesthetizing our children? That we're causing their brains to dysfunction because of the endless ingestion of violence? It's going too fast. The whole thing, when you see the lesson on the brain, you'll understand better. For now, just put it under the category of let your children be children. Children invite you to be young again. When was the last time you hopped like a grasshopper? When was the last time you flew like a butterfly? When was the last time you rolled on the floor, rolled down a hill of grass and giggled and got grass everywhere inside of you? If it wasn't recently, then you're not playing with your children. Mostly, let your children be children. They have a lot of time to grow up. They have a lot of time to be pressurized like Harmony was. If your children are really stressed out now and you continue pressuring them with too much to do, too much pressure to excel, too much, the word TOO is in your vocabulary, in your mind. I'm looking at that kid, is in your mind, then you need to back off. Children need to be children. I have a friend, they have children that are 5, 10, and 15 years old, and the little boy's name is Hudson. Now Hudson he's so cute you could eat him with a spoon, okay? And he can do everything. He can dance, he can sing, he can perform. He is cute. So every time Hudson's in the room with any people, the spotlight goes on him. Well, the problem with this is Hudson grew up only knowing how to be in the spotlight in a crowd. So I happened to be at the family home when it was his father's birthday. He's over in the corner crying. So I went over and I said, what's the problem? And he said, well, he wanted the attention that his dad was getting. And I said, listen to me, Hudson. The birthday is so cool. It's so cool because it's the only day in the whole year where the big spotlight follows you all day. Everybody goes, happy birthday to you 1,000 times. Oh, it's your birthday? Oh, that's cool. All day long. It's the only day. Now, if you want to come in and steal the spotlight from your dad on his only day, do you really want to do that? He was 5. He said, no, I don't. I said, Dan, you need to change your mind. That's all you have to do is change your mind. And he walked away from me, and he was all slumped down and he was doing the body language for, I'm not going to play your cheer-up game. And then he turned and gave me his Hudson smile. And I said, what just happened? And he smiled at me, and he says, I changed my mind. And I gave him a big hug. And then I said to him, okay, let's look at the party. I said, who needs a 5-year-old right now? Oh, look at there, your grandmother's sitting all by herself. He was gone. And then when he got tired of playing with his grandmother, I went over and I said, look, at your uncle's lap is empty. I helped him learn to be at the party because he had always known to be at the party with the spotlight on him. He didn't know how to do elsewhere. When a child's really good at something, it's easy to turn them into a trained seal. With everybody watch, she can do this, watch, she can do that. She can do this, she can do that. The problem is that when you pull that away from the child, they have no skills. They can't function because they weren't taught to. Let children be children. Think about it. Your homework for next time. Yes, there's homework. And I do not have a red pen. What we want you to do is to practice what I teach so you integrate it into your system, okay? Your homework for next time is to notice how often you pressure your child into being older than his or her age. Just notice. Once you notice, then you have a chance to change. I'll see you in the next lesson. This is Sandy McDaniel. Take gentle care of you.